All right, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is, wherever in this vast world you may or may not happen to be. Welcome once more to another live stream of Alexandra Mayers Live, page by page reading and commentary of the modern English version of the Bible. So today we're going to go back into the first book of Samuel, chapter 8. It's titled Israel Demands a King. So this should be interesting. It's a fairly short chapter. On a personal note, I am doing great. I feel particularly rejuvenated today. I just slept really well last night. I've been going to sleep kind of early, waking up early, works for me. And I should have a pretty productive weekend. I hope all of you out there do as well, or at least a relaxing weekend. I definitely had to relearn how to relax over the past few months, and I'm glad I took the time to do so. Self-care is very important. I firmly believe that God and Jesus Christ wants us all to take care of ourselves, because if we don't, how are we going to take care of anybody else? So anyway, let's go ahead and get into this. Israel demands a king. And it came about when Samuel was old that he installed his sons as judges for Israel. Now the name of his firstborn son was Joel, and the name of his second son was Abijah. They were judging in Beersheba. But his sons did not walk in his way, for they followed after unlawful gain, and they took bribes, and they perverted justice. Oh, that's horrible. That's horrible, because Samuel, you know, overall was a, really well respected and good judge. And then he has these sons who are just corrupt as can be and are ruining everything. Let's continue. And all the elders of Israel gathered together, and they came to Samuel at Ramah. They said to him, "Behold, you are old, and your sons do not walk in your ways. Now install for us a king to govern us like all the nations." So they're basically asking Samuel, hey, you need to circumvent your son's rule. We do like you. We want you to retain your legacy, but you're going to have to do something about this. So that's a good solution. It's fair. But the thing was evil in the eyes of Samuel, because they said, "Give us a king to govern us." And Samuel prayed to the Lord. The Lord said to Samuel, "Obey the voice of the people in relation to all that they say to you. For it is not you they have rejected, but me they have rejected from reigning over them. Just as all the deeds which they have done to me from the day I brought them up from Egypt, even to this day, in that they have forsaken me and have served other gods, so they are doing also to you now." Woo! This is the version of God the Lord that I really appreciate. Seriously. Because he's saying to Samuel, he's like, look, now you get a taste of what I've been dealing with since the beginning of time. Imagine God saying that to you, not a parent, but God directly saying, yeah, well, in this case, I'll take the brunt of it. It's not you, it's me. Because God is kind of like, look, I want things to be in place as they are. But the problem is that Samuel's sons are not like how Samuel is, and the people don't like that. So what's going to happen? So God kind of has an attitude here. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. Hey Sharon, how are you doing? I hope you're having a good day. Yeah, I have a funny perspective of a lot of things in the Bible, I think. But But I just really like when we get some insight into the mind of God, the mind of the Lord, and just having had it, like, God's just like, look, no matter what I do, no matter how many miracles I do, I mean, I freaking parted the Red Sea, it's never enough. You always end up trying to worship these other gods and do all this other shit. Meanwhile, I've taken care of you from the beginning. So God's, kind of like, just let them do what they're going to do. But let's see what happens. Now then, obey their voice. Only you will testify against them and proclaim to them the judgment concerning the king who will reign over them. So Samuel said all the words of the Lord to the people who were asking from him a king. And he said, this will be the judgment concerning the king who will reign over you. Your sons he will take in order to place them for himself in his chariots and as his horsemen. And they will run before his chariot. And in order to assign for himself captains of thousands of captains of 50s, and to plow his ground, and to gather in his harvest, and to make his weapons of war, the equipment of his chariots. And your daughters he will take for perfumers and cooks and bakers. And your choicest fields and vineyards and olive groves he will take and give them to his servants. And of your seed fields, your vineyards, he will take 1/10 of their harvest and will give it to his high officials and to his servants. And your men servants and your maid servants, and the best of your young men and asses, I guess they mean donkeys, he will take and make do this work. Your flocks he will take 1/10 of, but you will be for his slaves. Well, I'm sorry, but you will be his for slaves. And you will cry out in that day because of your king, whom you have chosen for yourselves, but the Lord will not answer you in that day. Wow. So, I guess they're going to get what they want, the king, but the king is going to kind of take everything from them. And Samuel's just kind of laying out exactly how it's going to be. But the people refused to obey the voice of Samuel. And they said, no, but surely a king will be over us, so that we will be like all the nations, and so that our king will govern us and will go out before us and will fight our battles. They're a little delusional about what a king does exactly. That's interesting. And after Samuel heard the words of the people, he spoke them in the hearing of the Lord. And the Lord said to Samuel, obey their voice and make for them a king. So Samuel said to Israel's fighting men, go every man to his city. And that's the end of that chapter. So Samuel, this is interesting because it does have to do specifically with politics. It is politics. The people felt that they knew better than Samuel. I bet that some of the decision makers in that group who approached him to name a king, I bet they didn't even believe that he's actually in contact with God. I bet they just kind of were like, oh, it was just him telling us what to do. It wasn't really God. That's probably what the mentality was. Probably. So that was a fun chapter. That was fun because that was God saying, you know what? The people are going to do what they want to do. I gave them free will for a reason. They do not have to be loyal to me. I'll still be here, but it is disappointing. That's kind of what I felt God was feeling at that moment. That's what I think. So anyway, everyone have a great day. Thanks for listening. And I don't know when I'm going to do a video stream on my other projects again. I don't know. At some point. I'm sure there's something I want to do a commentary on. So I'll see y'all later. Bye bye.